The offense, I don't think there are a lot of questions. We know that they're Super Bowl caliber. What about the defense, however?
This does not have to be one of the top 5 defenses in the entire league. This only has to be good enough to support its elite offense, and that is what the Bengals are hoping for this season.
Today was average. But overall, I'm happy with where I'm at. Next week, I'd like to be a little better. We got to be better. Too many procedural penalties, too many errors.
Well, we got our answers. We got the fast start that we wanted. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals started out hot offensively in their first preseason game. Final score, 34-27. We don't know if anything legit was installed, but let's just talk about our offense. We were getting so much steam, so much talking about in the news press. If you're the know-how of Cincinnati Bengals news, you hear things like Zach Taylor saying, Joe Burrow's gotten better. He's more pinpoint with finding the right pocket, finding the right hole in the defense, and then being anticipatory with the throwing motions and everything. And then you hear so many things about T. Higgins talking about Chase Brown and all the players talking about, well, who's going to break out this year? Chase Brown. And so I saw some great things with Chase Brown even in his little spurts that he had. Tanner Hudson getting the touchdown for us, breaking multiple tackles. Jamar Chase, 4 catches on 4 targets for 77 yards and a touchdown. T. Higgins, Joe Burrow went 9 out of 10 for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, and just 2 drives. T. Higgins was that one drop. The ball was a little bit high as T is crossing the midfield, but hey, both of his hands. I definitely think that was one that he should have came down with. And then we got to talk about the offensive line. The Bengals came out with left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. We already know that's his spot. And then they added in a rookie, Dylan Fairchild, out of Georgia to be that left guard. And then they have, of course, Teddy Karras as their center. And then right guard is Lucas Patrick. This is a guy that actually got hurt past week, get a little bit healthier, and actually had a pretty good game. And then we have Marius Mim at that right tackle position, who, from what I saw, incredible game. Just some early thoughts on the offense. I love the fast start. I love the 2 touchdown drives. I love the fact that they did an entire quarter instead of just 1 drive. Everyone looked in shape. Jamar Chase had a burner. He had a big run after catch touchdown, something that usually happens mid to later of the season. But for him to get that juice going right now, for Joe Burrow to go 9 of 10, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, to have so much confidence in what he was seeing pre-snap. And that second drive, he was hitting those hook routes just on point again and again, and just taking what the defense gives them. And then, of course, the back shoulder fade, that first one to Jamar to get those tiptoe feet inbounds that didn't look, I did not think that was a catch, but it turned out to be a catch. So those things like that, just truly beautiful. But then the offense, that's the main thing that I was kind of worried about. Of course, we're going to talk about defense and everything, but I was getting so many text messages, because you guys know I'm a Bengals fan, getting so many text messages from my buddies like, hey, y'all are starting the offense, y'all better look clean. Like, this better not be a thing where everything flip-flops and the offense looks weird. But the off-starters, I believe, showed like playoff level chemistry. Like, I think everybody was very much locked in. Chase Brown, 24 rushing yards, 25 receiving yards. I just like Chase Brown's burst. His quick bullet-like reaction to finding the right hole. He just takes off and he leaves a blow. He delivers. Taj Brooks, he also had an incredible game. And just real quick about Dylan Fairchild, everything that I was able to see, it looked pretty well. Like, it looked nice. Lucas Patrick, it looked like a chop block. I guess the ref saw it wrong, but really, he just fell while Amarius Mims was blocking the defender. I think it was Josh Uche for the Eagles. And he kind of just looked like it was like a dirty play, but it wasn't. But you guys let me know within the offensive line, how confident were you guys? Joe Burrow looked really clean. His jersey was very clean. There was a few little hiccups where it looked like it was about to be a quarterback hit, but everything seemed a little peachy, okay. But you guys let me know from the offensive line standpoint, what did you guys see? Taj Brooks, the running back out of Texas Tech that the Bengals drafted. This kid actually looked pretty great. It looked like a very good yin and yang type of addition for Chase Brown. A little bit more of a thumper, a little bit more of a guy that's going to pick a lane and try to hit you. 10 rushing attempts on 26 rushing yards, so 2.6 yards per carry. Not the greatest of stats, but just had, like I said, some really good runs, being able to be patient, find the hole, and then being able to have a few bursts. And once again, every single one of his runs, he kind of left a punishment for the defender. Reminded me of Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Also has the dreads kind of going out of his helmet. And it was actually kind of crazy to see not Giovanni Bernard in that 25 jersey. I know we've had Chris Evans, but just to know that it looks like Taj Brooks is going to be playing. 25 just looks a little bit better. And of course, when it comes to the Bengals, there's always good and bad. And of course, this defense, it didn't show too much, right? There was no BJ Hill. There was no Dax Hill. Geno Stone played a little bit. I wanted to talk about that open field last line of defense tackle that Jordan Battle had and Will Shipley. Absolutely great. Will Shipley just gashes up the defense. The defense just didn't look fully put together, fully installed. Did look a little bit simpler, if you would ask me, but great tackle, like I said, by Jordan Battle. The commentators kept saying repeatedly, you know, they have their starters out there. Like I said, no BJ Hill. Yes, Chris Jenkins was out there. No Trey Hendrickson. Yes, Miles Murphy was out there. There were some things within that to where Cam Taylor-Britt wasn't out there with the first unit. So there are some things that weren't exactly 100% right, but I still did not like what I saw defensively. It did look like they were trying to move a little bit fast. I saw Demetrius Knight Jr., the new second-round linebacker pickup out of South Carolina. Saw some great things with him. I love the 44. Honestly, the number, his size, he looks big, fast, physical. Definitely a guy that was running to the ball, trying to make as much impact as possible. It definitely looked like when it came to the passing portion of the game, they were kind of picking on Logan Wilson anytime there was anything within the numbers. And then Josh Newton. Holy moly, really our secondary altogether. Just had an terrible day. Quarterback Tanner McKee went 20 of 25, 252 yards, 3 first half touchdowns, 1 rushing with that tush push, 2 passes, a 6-yarder and a 20-yarder. The Eagles offense moved the ball up and down the field as Joe Burrow did. Just a little bit more woes, but as the Bengals kind of moved the ball up, against the second string for the Eagles. The second string for the Eagles kind of went at it for the second string for the Bengals, not all the starters. Shamar Stewart had an okay game. Definitely has to fix up a lot of things. I definitely saw him getting tired out there as well. The defense looked like when he got out there was a little bit more energy. He definitely had a little bit more juice with the defensive unit that he went out there with. Cam Sample was out there again, but head coach Zach Taylor entering the 7th season. Bengals coming off 2 back-to-back 98 seasons. Everything was about the slow start. And I think our offense looked really good, even though it's against the second unit. There's not going to give the media won't give any real credence to that. But at the end of the day, football is football. I think it matters. And then the first round pick, Shamar Stewart, like I said, played great. The Bengals have a new rookie guard at that left guard position to protect Joe Burrow. Despite the roster updates, defensively, things just still did not look great. Maybe we'll get some answers on that. Maybe not. You guys have a good one.